guys, it's Alyssa here for Books and Cats, and today I shall be coming at you with my May wrap-up. Somehow, in the month of May, I read a total of 15 books. Now, before you have a heart attack, a lot of them were graphic novels / manga. If you missed any of my previous videos, Borrow-a-thon happened in the month of May, so that's why I read a lot of borrowed things. And also, my big goal for May was to read only borrowed things, and I completely succeeded except for 2 books that I had through NetGalley. So I'm quite proud of that. I completed my goal, which was to read a lot of borrowed things. I had a lot of things from the library that I had to catch up on, and it was a great, wonderful reading month. I also somehow managed to post 8 times in the month of May, which again is some kind of miracle. I don't know how. I really don't know, but somehow I managed. I'm also proud of that. Alright, I put this on because my arms are ridiculously pasty white and I was annoyed at looking at them. I also DNF'd 1 book, and it's sad because it was one of my anticipated reads for the year. But how I'm going to do this wrap-up is I'm going to do the Borrow-a-thon books that I read, what challenges I completed, and then I shall go into all of the other books that I read. So I'm not going to do them in the order that I read them. I'm going to do them in the order of the challenges that I completed, if that makes sense. So to complete the first 2 challenges was to read a nominee or book award winner and a book that has your initials on the cover. I read Matilda by Roald Dahl. Now, initially, I thought I enjoyed this book. When I finished it, I faced and I don't face this often. I don't face this feeling often, but I faced that thing where I was like, surely I have to love it because everyone else loves it. Surely I have to love this book. I read it and I was like, I just expected myself to love it, and then I read it and I was like, oh, I really enjoyed it. And then when I thought about it, I was like, wait, I really didn't though. In the end, I ended up giving it 2 stars. I'm obviously in the not majority of people, because majority of people love this book. It was surprisingly really difficult for me to read. The abusive characters in it were just overwhelming. I don't normally have a sensitivity to that, but I was hypersensitive of it in this book, and it took away so much of me being able to enjoy the novel because I would just read it and be so uncomfortable at how mean and cruel the people in the book are. I do love Matilda as a character. I loved Miss Honey and her backstory. It was wonderful. It had a really good plot. I went into it knowing semi what it was about, and I don't know. I can't quite put my finger on what I didn't enjoy about it. And also, it's just I know it's an older novel, so it's different, but again, I'm just so tired of fat characters being the only evil people in a book. Or the majority of the evil people in the book. I'm over it. For challenges 3, 4, and 5, which was someone else's favorite book, a book that seems like everyone else has read but you, and a book from your favorite genre, I read Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. Yes, I am now deceased, thank you for asking. A little part of my soul died with that book. So this book left me with many emotions, many feelings. Here's the thing. What I would have liked and what this is best for how it ended are 2 different things. I like everything to wrap up in a nice, pretty little bow, and it's just beautiful, and it's just a great ending, right? But that can't always happen, okay? That can't always happen. And I went into it not really expecting that with this series, honestly. I would have been more shocked if everything had ended up okay. I feel like there was some necessary heartbreak, and there was some necessary open endings, especially now that it's been announced that she's planning for a 3rd book in the series. I mean, come on, we were all expecting that. I didn't expect it to wrap up in a pretty little bow because of the series and the characters and how their lives are and who they are as people. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. I highly enjoyed it. I think that the plot in this one was honestly even more interesting than 6 of Crows. I think that it was actually more entertaining. I really loved it. I am so happy that I am caught up with all of Leigh Bardugo's books. I only have The Language of Thorns to read, and I'm just so happy. And the last challenge was to read a book featuring a library, and for that, I switched around my TBR a little bit, and I ended up checking out through Overdrive, The Body in the Library by Agatha Christie. This was enjoyable. I have no complaints. This was my first ever Agatha Christie novel that I've finished. I've attempted doing it before, but I think I was just too young at the time to, like, grasp anything. I enjoyed it. I give it 3.5 stars. I really have no complaints. I found, like, out of the shows that I always enjoyed Poirot over Marple, but in this one I really liked her. I really liked the novel. I liked the different perspectives that you got in the novel, which I wasn't expecting, but it was pretty well-rounded. It was a good short read, and I definitely plan on putting Agatha Christie on my radar. And now on to the other books that I read for Biorathon. I also finished volumes 2 and 3 of Alex and Ada by Jonathan Luna. I gave these both 4 stars. Overall, the series for me is getting a solid 4 stars. I loved how this series wrapped up. I didn't expect the ending, and if you're looking for a good, solid graphic novel series, I really did love this. The only thing that I don't like about the graphic novel series, which is a big deal, but I'm not insanely enthusiastic about the art style. Like, it's just not that pleasing to look at. Normally for me, an art style is a big deal. I think that's why I didn't like it when I read it the first time around. But with this graphic novel, I would definitely say that the plot is the bigger portion of what makes this so good. And the last 3 books that I read for Biorathon are Cheese Sweet Home volumes 10, 11, and 12. I think I gave 10 and 11 4 stars, and I gave 12 5 stars. I love this series. If you're looking for a nice, cute, fluffy, lovely manga series, I highly recommend Cheese Sweet Home. It's so good. So normally how I do my wrap-ups is I do them in the rating in which I gave them, but I am much too lazy for that today because I already had to do the Biorathon thing. I'm already 15 minutes into this video. No, we're not doing that. So we're just doing it now in the order that I read them. First, we're going to talk about the book that I DNF'd this month because that's technically the first thing that I finished on Goodreads, so we're going to talk about that. And that is Lifelike by J. Christa. I DNF'd this at 28%. It makes me so sad. I couldn't keep doing it. It was too gosh darn boring and confusing. It should not take that long to set up a novel. Could you know, 50 pages, and then it starts, you know, kind of falling into place. We start understanding stuff. I was still 100% confused and bored at 28% into the novel, which, if I did my math right, was over 100 pages in. Gave it a fair shot, okay? I gave it a really fair shot, really fair shot. The reason I kept going was because I was like, well, Illuminae took a lot to get into it, right? I was like, and I've read Illuminae, and I love Illuminae, so I'm gonna give it a fair shot. I'm gonna give it what I gave Illuminae. And I did. And I just didn't care. It was just weird. If I'm gonna be honest, just weird. I didn't get it. I didn't like it. A lot of it I had to go back and reread like 4 times, and not because I was like, whoa, what, you know, oh my god, did that just really happen? I did it because I was like, literally, I do not understand what this page, what this word is trying to tell me. I was highly anticipating this read, especially after I met J. Christa in March, and I was like, when he was talking about it, I was like, wow, that sounds really cool, and it was really not. It was really boring. I did not enjoy it. It was not good. And the first book that I finished in the month of May was Worlds of You by Bo Chaplin. I gave this 3 stars. I have read one previous book by Bo, and it was really good. This one was also solid. It just wasn't extraordinary to me. Did get a little boring at times, but it was just okay. It wasn't bad, and it wasn't unbelievably good either. Ooh, oh my god. And now onto the worst book that I read this month. Oh my god. I completely forgot I read this book this month. So the next book that I read was The Opposite of Here by Tara Altebrando. Guys, this book was really bad. This book was unbelievably awful. Like, if someone could be like, what is the one book that you would, without a doubt, never recommend to anybody and do not believe that it should have been published, it would be this book. The plot was horrible. It was uninteresting. It was unbelievable and just terrible. You find out the plot twist and it's completely just like, okay, I mean, that was unexpected, but like, why would anybody expect that? Because it's just kind of weird and not that interesting. The characters in this were just so flat and one-dimensional. I have never read a complete cast of characters that were so boring, didn't have any character traits, and were just the worst. Our main character, I don't even remember her name. Natalie? Maybe it's Natalie, I don't know. But she was just the worst. She meets this guy, and literally, after having exchanging two sentences with him, she gives him her room number. By the way, the setting of this book is on a cruise. And I'm like, that's not safe. Especially considering she was on this cruise with her 3 best friends. I was like, so not only did you put yourself in danger, but you put your 3 BFFs also in danger because you gave this boy you do not know your room number. I was like, that's not proper cruise safety. You shouldn't do that. Especially since this guy was weird as crap. Like, he wasn't charming and cool and oh my god, like, you love him from the second you meet him. No. He was weird. He was weird, not cool. The first thing that comes out of this character's mouth is harumph. Harumph. Like, H-A-R-R-U-M-P-H. I could not make this crap up. That is the word that comes out of a 17-year-old. I kid you not. That's the word that came out of his mouth the first moment he met her. Who in the year 2018 says that? No one! Especially not a 17-year-old who was freaking born in what? In 2001? Yeah, they're not gonna say that. This book was uninteresting, the plot was terrible, the characters made no sense. Basically, the author expected for her to just be like, oh yeah, and this is what the character's like, and never show you actual actions that prove that that character is that way. I don't want to talk about it anymore because it's really not good. On to positive things. The next book that I read, which I really loved, was Orange, Volume 2 by Ishigo Takano. Oh my god, I loved this so much. There was a little bit of, I would say, bad messaging in terms of fixing someone with mental illness. I majority took away from it was that character's friends did all that they could to help him when he needed help. Other than that, I really loved it. So 5 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read was Spill Zone by Scott Westerfeld, and oh my god, I enjoyed this a lot more than I thought I would. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars because it was wonderful. It was beyond wonderful. It was really good. The art style, oh my gosh, so good. The color scheme in it is so cool. Like, what happens in this novel and the world in it is so cool. It's just really good. The next book that I read was Turtles All the Way Down by John Green, which I also gave 5 out of 5 stars. I am so late to the game on reading this. And finally, I checked it out from the library, and this book was so good. I was a little nervous because I haven't read a John Green book in so long. It has been a very long time. I could not have guaranteed that I would still enjoy his work, but I really loved this. Obviously, I can't speak to the OCD rep in this novel, but I thought the anxiety rep was really great. It was heartbreaking. It felt so raw at times. Like, it was wonderful. I've never read a book with a character that has OCD, and it was moving, to say the least. I read the majority of this through the audiobook, and I also highly recommend that. I feel like a lot of the inner dialogue that she has comes across much better through the audiobook, because I tried switching to the regular novel and I was like, wait, what, huh? But I thought the audiobook was wonderful. I thought it did a great job of capturing the emotion behind some scenes, and it was really, really wonderful. And the last two things that I read in May were Paper Girls Volume 3 and 4 by Brian K. Vaughan and a bunch of other dudes. These were really good. I gave them 4 out of 5 stars. I am really enjoying this series. It's finally starting to fall into place what the freak is going on in this graphic novel series. It's not that it didn't do well the first 2 volumes, it's just definitely the kind of series that takes a lot to develop. There's a lot of storyline going on that takes a while to form. I love a series that has kick-butt female main characters who don't give a crap and do what they want. I love it. It's great. That is all of the books that I read in May. Thank the Lord, I'm done. I'm done talking about the books I read in May. Oh my god. I feel like that wrap-up was never gonna come. That's all I got. If you guys read any of these books and have any thoughts on them, please let me know down below. I would love to know. Also, while you're down there, you can go ahead and subscribe if you want to. All my social media is also down there. Twitter, Instagram, Goodreads. That's all I got. And I hope I shall see you guys in the next video. Bye.